Fred, I know you've written for this on this topic for the Orange and Brown Report. Key battles, defensive side of the ball, as you head into training camp, which will get underway next week. And we alluded to this in the previous segment. Interior defensive line and those starters, it's really wide open. What do you think the coaches are looking at and specifically thinking with that group? It's awfully young and inexperienced.
I think Joe Woods mentioned 5 interior guys during minicamp. And it's Tommy Togiai, Jordan Elliott, Sheldon Day, Perrion Winfrey, and Taven Bryan. So I think that's what starts. I think they're really hoping Jordan Elliott, is the guy that takes a big step in his 3rd year. And I think they're going to see what they have, and then they will go from there as training camp goes. As it progresses, if they feel they need to, bring in a veteran, then you might see them look back at a Sheldon Richardson or possibly even a Ndamukong Suh, or some veteran out there. There's several of them out there that are available, but I think they know they have to get younger. They also have Jadeveon Clowney, who can move inside and spell and have a presence there, and they have a little more depth at defensive end. But I do think the 2 tackles are one of the, if not the biggest. Those are the only 2 positions that are not returning starters on defense. 9 of the 11 starters return, and the 2 Maliks were the starters last year. Jackson and McDowell, neither of them returned. So you're going to have 2 new defensive tackles. And I think right now the leaders would be Jordan Elliott and Taven Bryan, and Perrion Winfrey has a chance to step in and be a starter there.
Bryan's an interesting guy. They signed him early in free agency. It's a former first-round pick. And coming from Jacksonville, that, for lack of a better term, it's been a mess for a little bit there. So do you think they kind of look at him and think they can, unlock that potential first-round talent that was there?
Yeah, I think that has kind of been the MO of Andrew Berry. From his scouting days, this guy was a first-round draft pick for the Jaguars, didn't really live up to the hype. He has done that before. A couple of years ago, he signed Carl Joseph, who was a first-round pick from the Raiders, kind of give him a 1-year deal to see if he could reclaim it. They also did that with Takaris McKinley last year, and he actually was showing some life in the second half of the season, looked pretty good. And then he tore his Achilles. So that's what they're looking for, is kind of lightning in a bottle and hoping that talent, that they saw to make him a first-round pick, that they could get it out of him in this system. I mentioned McKinley. He's a defensive end, but I'll throw it out there. He's on the Browns' radar. I'm hearing that he's ahead of schedule, and he could even be a guy that they could bring back. And if they thought he could play this season, he could be somebody they could bring in for depth at end, and then they could actually move him inside if need be as well. But I think right now they're hoping they can resurge with Bryan. He's looking at this as a new lease on life, a new shot at his career. And sometimes guys like that make the most of it, some don't. But I think that's what they're hoping with him.